processing a piece of material like this, the removal of the waste is the most important aspect as you finish off the joint. Here we are located with two waste points, one waste line which is the 5mm line from the top, and also our shoulder line. When removing the waste, it's very important to remove the 5mm line all the way through the piece, as you have the marking out lines to use as a guide. This is very important because when you're removing the 5mm at the top as your waste, it allows you to cut all the way through the piece. In this, I'm only cutting one section of it just for demonstration purposes only, but it's very important to continue your saw cut all the way along the piece, as you have the marking out lines to use as a guide and as reference points. Once you've that done, you can create your shoulder line at the other side. It is very important that you always cut waist-sided line to ensure you have good, accurate, precise shoulder lines. This is very important to keep the piece nice and tight up against the bench hook and create one smooth motion with your saw. After completing this process, it is very easy to highlight why this method is called the triangular saw method. After removing the waste piece of material, you can clearly see the triangular shape in which this method creates in the middle of the piece. If sawn correctly, it should make a nice equilateral triangle from the very corners of the piece. So what would happen if we removed our shoulder line first before our 5mm waste? When removing shoulder line waste at the beginning, you're removing all marking lines and reference points in which we have created through our marking out process. This is very important that we cut our first 5mm waste at the beginning before sawing off our shoulder line. After sawing off to both sides of our waist, we can clearly distinguish which side is the better processed side. We can see that the triangular sawn method is a lot more parallel to our two surfaces, which means this method is a lot more precise and accurate compared to when we sawed straight down the piece of material with the grain. You can see how the piece is not parallel to the surface or perpendicular to our shoulder lines in which we created. We can see that when we saw it straight down is off by a couple of millimeters compared to when we sawed with the triangular sawn method. This is why it's very important to use this method instead of creating the saw cut straight down.